Good morning. Happy Monday. A little colder today than it has been, I guess. Although yesterday was a lot colder. So I'm my glasses are filthy. I hate it when you think you can't see, but then you realize that it's just your glasses are filthy. So it's fine. So I'm in better shape today than I have been because I didn't have to work as hard yesterday. It was cold, so I didn't do as many things as I thought I would with the porch. But we're closing in on the end of the porch project with any luck. I'm getting wood delivered today, which should, between 9:30 and 1 p.m., which means I'm sure the truck is going to come right in the middle of class and drop everything outside. So maybe. It seems to be their thing. Everything seems to happen between 9 o'clock and 10 o'clock. So that's wood for the ceiling. I have to put a ceiling on the porch because we don't have a ceiling. And what else? Get the gutters done. Someone is putting those on for me because I don't know. I can't do everything. and there's some shenanigans that you have to do with it because the way the roof is, it's got a big overhang, but no support. So before they just sort of slapped a gutter on and hung it onto the roof overhang with no support. And I mean, you can absolutely understand what happened with that, right? The gutter tipped over. It broke it sort of, chipped away at the wood of the roof, and it's a whole big mess. So they're going to do it right this time. We'll hopefully. And then when they do that, I can finish the rest of my porch posts. And then we will be done, which I hope will happen this year. I hope I won't have to wait till spring to get everything done. I might. It depends how much good weather we get. But that's fine. And then next year, we'll do the side porch. Hooray! Which is a much smaller project. But it has its own challenges. So we'll see how that goes. All right. So, yeah, we were going to... So I was going to get back to the yamas again. So let's do that. We talked about Ahimsa, right? Our first yama. And we talked about that Friday. I also talked about it Saturday a bit. But it doesn't hurt to keep talking about it, right? Because not everybody probably was here. And again, it is the core of the yamas, right? The umbrella and the base and everything, right? Everything comes back to ahimsa, non-harming. None of the other yamas make any sense without that. So if you're ever unsure about how to apply one of the other yamas, think about it in terms of ahimsa. Does it support ahimsa? If it doesn't, then you're probably misinterpreting what you should be doing in that state. So kindness, concern, compassion, all of these things come from ahimsa. Really, all the good things are going to come from there. it is, in some ways, it sounds like a little passive, right? The idea of not harming. And that's one of the funny things about sort of Sanskrit is that, you have a lot of words that start with A. And when it starts with A or A, that is basically the opposite. So just like in English, we might have, we put less at the end of the word to sort of negate that, right? So I didn't know this, and you may not know this either, but ruthless, right? So ruth means mercy, right? And I never knew that, but it is. It's sort of an older word. We don't use it much, but it does. So ruthless means without mercy, right? The opposite of the word. The same way in Sanskrit, an A in front sort of negates the word, makes it the opposite. So himsa is harm, actually. Ahimsa, non-harm or non-harming, right? But it goes, clearly it's beyond that. But it's also a modifier, right? So it's a way to look at another action, right? Is your truth going to cause harm, right? Is your I'm trying to think of the other yamas. I'm like blanking on all of this right now. Hold on. I'm looking. I'm looking in my little book here. Oh, here we are. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, we don't have a lot of the other yamas aren't likely to necessarily harm someone. But still, there is sometimes a sense of pride in some of these, right? Like some of the things, like say brahmacharya, right? That's one where we're trying to be sort of moderate and moderate in our pleasures, moderate in our desires, and in our consumption of things. There is certainly a possible, people can take that to the extreme where they actually start denying themselves things that they need or things that give them pleasure in the belief that somehow that makes you more virtuous, right? And the sutras actually have some commentary on this idea, and I mean, this is something that we in the West often, that's sort of our picture of, especially early on, yogis in India were kind of these crazy looking guys living out in the forest, half naked, uh, basically like starving and doing a lot of extra, staying in one position for years, or just doing a lot of what they might call body mortification, in the belief that that might get them closer to God, closer to enlightenment. Um, but the sutras are pretty clear on that's not possible. That is not a thing that we want to do. Um, that is taking things to the extreme, right? So you've taken moderation without ahimsa. So you're actually using this tool of purification and harming yourself with it, right? How does that make sense? It doesn't make sense when we think of ahimsa as the ultimate, right? Not harming others, not harming yourself, right? You're just as important as everybody else, right? And your well-being is really of utmost importance. How are you going to continue your path if you can't survive, if you are unwell? Um, there is no virtue in that, right? There's no virtue in suffering. In fact, we are trying to avoid suffering as much as possible on the yoga path, right? We're trying to understand where suffering comes from and avoiding it. Physical suffering by staying healthy, by staying, uh, by keeping moving, not uh, allowing the body to fall apart. We're trying to keep it together. And also by moderating our thoughts, by controlling our mind, right? Not letting it run off into dark places and keep us up at night and um, make us feel unwell. We're trying to direct our thoughts in positive ways, in ways that um, lift us up and keep us on our path. The point of all of this, right, is to reach this enlightenment eventually, but that's sort of the ultimate goal. The short-term goal is to enjoy your life, is to be successful at just living. Um, in yoga terms, successful is that we are at peace. Successful doesn't have anything to do with how much money you make, how many friends you have, how many likes you have on Facebook, how many things you own, how prestigious your job is, how educated you are. Um, it doesn't even really have anything to do with um, good works or, um, I mean, certainly those things can help us, but there isn't even any requirement to that. I mean, you could be uh, all by yourself in a cave somewhere. I keep coming back to being in a cave mode today. I don't know. Um, and at peace if you've got these things in order, right? If you are treating yourself kindly, you are not harming, you have, um, you're holding your thoughts in a way that's positive, not destructive. Um, that's the goal. So, ahimsa is of the utmost importance. I got to tell you. If it's the only one you ever learn, I hope you learn it because um, it will keep you on your path. It's so important. That's what this is. If you can't, this is the Sanskrit for Ahimsa to remind me every day um, what is important. So, with that in mind, let's do some asana, um, being kind, being um, gentle with your body, not harming, not doing anything to cause yourself a lot of extra stress or difficulty. Just working within your range of movement. Um, yep, let's do it. It's nice and warm in here today. My husband set up a little space heater in here, which is going to be nice because the rest of the house doesn't have the heat on yet. So I can just stay in here and be warm. Sitting up tall, breathe. One more breath and let your head hang down. Relax. And move your head around. Big circle. One way and the other. Back to center, lean forward. And then move around. One way and the other. Back up. Arms wide. Take a deep breath in and then exhale. Bring the hands together. Inhale, arms wide. Exhale. Inhale. And exhale. Interlace the fingers. Lift the hands. Gaze up. And then arms down by your side. Lift. And lower. Lift. And lower. Once more, lifting up. And then left hand by your side. Reach across with the right. Switch sides. And then back up. Walk the hands out. And then hands a little ways behind you. Squeeze the shoulders together. Gaze up. Back up to your seat. Let's do seated cat-cow for a few sets. So as we're inhaling, we're bringing the chest forward, pulling the shoulders back, gazing up. Exhale, moving back. Inhales and exhales. Back up to your seat. Let's bring the soles of the feet together. And sitting up tall, take a deep breath. Fold forward. Come on back up. Extend both legs straight out in front. Deep breath. Fold forward. Coming back up, we're going to bring the left hand to the outside of the right knee, right arm behind you. Sit up tall, take a twist. Back to center, switch sides. And back to center. Let's bring the legs wide. Sitting up tall, take a deep breath, and then folding forward. Bring hands down onto the legs or out in front, whatever works for you today. Breathe. Moving back up, we'll bring the legs a little closer together. So maybe the width of the mat. Right foot comes in, close. Sitting up tall and then turning. So we're facing this left leg. Lift the arms high and then fold forward. Coming back up, let's switch the legs. Facing the right leg, deep breath in, fold forward. Moving back up, both legs out in front. Deep breath in and fold forward. Moving back up. Let's bring soles of the feet together again. Sitting up tall, breath in, and then fold forward. So I want to take a moment here just to talk about forward folds. So when we do the folds, we always talk about hinging from the hip, right? So if you, I'm going to try to do this. I can't really see, but maybe you can see. Okay, so let's say these are your legs and this is your bodies and this is your hip joint, right? So we want to go like this. Keep that body flat. What people often do is they start to curve here, right? It makes them feel like they're coming forward more, but they're really not. And what they're doing is they're curving the spine, which is putting strain on all of these discs and all of these, connections and everything in your spine. You'll feel that, and I feel it when I start to, if I'm doing something funny with my back, you'll feel that's where you start to feel a pull or a strain. If you can keep that back nice and straight, then you can fold as much as you want. There's no strain on the back. The back isn't curving, nothing's being pulled out of alignment. It's just a nice, and it may only be a very small movement at first. It may take a while before you get more, right? So don't decide, oh, I want to try to, get more in. Don't do it, right? You'll end up injuring yourself, or getting that back, tweaking your back or doing something. That's what happens when people, get it like a pinch or something out of alignment, is when, they put strain on that spine in a very unsupported position. So we don't want to do that. If it means that you just come down this far, that's fine, right? We're trying to move and get flexibility through the hip and the hip flexors. We can't pretend we're doing that, right? By doing this, all you're doing then is getting the back out of alignment. So yeah, and that's how it is with all the forward folds, right? Pretty much. We're never going to be asking. Well, I shouldn't say that. Okay, so the only time we're going to do that is cat cow, seated cat cow or regular cat cow. That's the time to curve the spine, right? And it's fine for stretches and things, but you never want to do it when you're under some kind of pressure or strain, like a fold like that. Okay, so there you go. Spine words to live by. Legs out in front, lift your arms and fold. Same thing here, right? This fold is going to initiate from the hips, right? We start there. Right here. Okay, we don't start here. We start at the hips. And then we come down. And it may not be very far at first, right? Maybe it's just here. If you find that the arms are a problem for you, some people find that lifting the arms, it makes them want to reach out, right, with the shoulders. If you find that's a problem, bring the hands onto your legs. And then bring that from the hips, right? So you aren't tempted to kind of reach out and curve into, right? Maybe that's it. That's fine. You'll definitely feel the difference. But again, it's trying to be safe with the back, but also to get out of your ego, right? Get out of your head and this thought of how your fold should be. I should be able to reach my toes. I should be able to do this. You shouldn't if you're not there yet. Maybe someday you will, but I guarantee you're never going to do that if you injure yourself consistently, right? You keep injuring yourself, how are you ever going to get there, right? You've got to start, right, from the hips, moving in a very safe way. And everything you do, right? So here's the funny thing. People think in order to fold, you got to practice the fold. Well, not really. What you have to do is get these hip flexors loosened up. And we do that through a bunch of different things. So the pigeon, supine pigeon, regular pigeon, any of the things where we are this, right? Supta Baddha Konasana, butterfly, we can call this also. This works the hip flexors, right? So if you're up here, maybe you can gently work this to try to loosen up the hip flexors some. All of the poses work together, right? So if you're way up here, there's no way you're going to get much of a fold. You just aren't, unless you're compromising, through the spine and the shoulders and all that. Everything will work together. You'll work on the hip flexors, and then all of a sudden you'll be like, oh, look, I can fold a little more. But it takes time, takes consistent practice, and doing it, in a very safe way so that you can continue doing it. Okay. Left leg, knee is pointing out. Bring the right leg over top. Got a hold of each foot. Take a deep breath and fold. Come on back up. Let's switch. Take a breath and fold. Back up. Both legs out. One more fold. And then we're back up. Bend the knees. Soles of the feet to the mat. Lowering down. Take a moment or two to get comfortable here. Right knee into the chest. Left leg extends long. And then we're going to lower the right knee out to the side. Rest of the body stays flat on the mat. Moving back to center. Draw that right knee across the body. And then back to center, switch legs. Lowering out to the side. And then bringing that knee to center, rolling across. Back to center, extend both legs. Let's do 5-pointed star. And then bending the knees, soles of the feet to the mat. We're going to get ready for bridge. You could always do supported bridge here too. Arms by the side, heels back close to the body, and then lifting up. Lowering back down. Soles of the feet together. Knees apart. Hands up over the head, maybe. Bring the knees together. Hug them into the chest. Rock a little side to side. Moving into happy baby. Reaching for the instep of the foot or the ankle. And breathe. You can move around if you feel like it, or just stay where you are and breathe. And then release, extend the legs straight up. Lowering down. And finding a place to be comfortable on the mat. Focus on the breath, the sensations in the body. So Ahimsa means non-harming. Non-harming others by our actions, our words, even our thoughts. Right? You may think that the thoughts that you have about someone don't matter, but they do. On an energy level and a vibration level, those thoughts take root. They create a feeling. And holding negative thoughts about someone or something creates a whole experience in and of itself, even if that person never knows. And I got to tell you, they sort of do know, especially if they are at all aware. So people who are a little aware of energy and those type of things can tell. They can tell how you're feeling, even when you don't express it. So holding a negative thought is damaging to everybody, right? That is not ahimsa. Doesn't mean, if you've had a negative interaction with that person, you may feel a little negative towards them, but you got to let it go, right? There's no reason to hold on to it. Just like all of our other negative experiences, they are what they are. We go through them and then we move on to the next thing. We don't hold a grudge, right? We don't build up a store of resentment or anger or unhappiness towards people or things. There's no benefit to that whatsoever, and it can actually be detrimental. It's hard to work on a positive relationship with someone when you are holding a lot of hostility and negative thought. Ahimsa toward yourself. You can see where I'm going with this, right? You can't have a positive relationship with yourself if you're holding on to a lot of negative thoughts. If you are super critical of yourself, if you are remembering all the things that you've done wrong in the past and beating yourself up with that, that's not ahimsa, right? That's the opposite of ahimsa. Let go of that. Let that be the past. Face the future in a positive way with ahimsa toward yourself. As a society, we have encouraged many of us to go through a lot of self-harming behaviors, right? People are very restrictive often with what they eat, with the way they express themselves, not being truly who they are, pretending to be someone else to make someone else happy, doing a lot of extreme things, wearing peculiar things. I'm pretty sure that high heels are not ahimsa, okay? I'm going to tell you right now. There are a lot of things we've done, right? To fit in, to feel like what we are supposed to be, that are harming to ourselves, right? It could be a lot of different things. We all have gone through these things, right? In this need to conform, to be like everyone else, to be accepted by someone, some nebulous somebody out there. How about we just let go of that? But we don't do that anymore. How about we do what works for us, what makes us feel healthy and whole and happy? It doesn't really matter what those people think. You will never make everyone like you. There will always be someone who won't like you. They just won't. You are not to everyone's liking. That's a hard truth for some people. But it is the truth, right? No matter how hard you try, no matter how much you work, you go against your own nature, you do things differently, it'll never be enough for some people. So why not just be yourself? There will be people who love you for who you are, who love your real self and love you for being your real self. They'll see that. It shines through when you are being yourself and when you are being kind to yourself, when you're treating yourself with love, that self, that spark will shine brightly and it will attract other people, just like a light in the dark. It will inspire other people. other people might say, hey, I might be able to be myself too. Let's all of us just be ourselves. Just relax and enjoy. Um, wouldn't that be great? Wouldn't it be great if we all did that? It would be great. And I hope that we do. Um, it's a step. Right? It may not be, you may not be able to get there right now. Maybe not all the way. But you take a few steps and you see that the world doesn't end because you didn't do this thing that everyone thought you should do. And then you try something else and something else. And then pretty soon you are living your life on your own terms, the way you want to be. And everyone else can just live with it in their own version of Ahimsa. And we are hopefully much more at peace, which is our goal, right? We are achieving our goal. Moving now, fingers and toes, hands and feet. And then making your way up to a seat. We'll bring hands together. Take a deep breath in and a breath out. Thank you for joining me this morning for yoga, for sharing with me. And I hope you have a really lovely Monday. Namaste. Great. Okay. A little meditation. Good morning, Susan. I'm sorry I didn't say hi before. I was just moving on to the next thing. All right. So we're sitting up tall, comfortable in a chair or however you want to be. Eyes are closed. Relaxing. Looking for that space in there that's peaceful and calm. So coming back to everyday awareness. Okay, there you go. Some meditation, some yoga. Good morning, Deb. I'm glad you were here too. Okay, so have a good day. I have to go to the dentist today. I'm not looking forward to that, but what are you going to do? You got to go. All right. I'll be back tomorrow.